My name is Andrew McAdam. I'm currently an evangelist in Microsoft, which always gets a smile. The role of the evangelist is very much about working very closely with a range of businesses, from startups to big corporates, understanding where they are at one point in time and where they want to get to, and effectively helping them join the dots by leveraging the latest technology. Prior to that, I'm an unusual evangelist in the fact that normally they're very technical. My own background is I'm very commercial. I was head of online sales and marketing in Vodafone. I did my MBA and worked for the CEO. So what I tend to do is focus more on the commercial strategy than I do on the technology strategy. But what I can do is bring in partners to help them with that area. What I would say, it's a very exciting time to be in technology at the moment. I've been in Microsoft for just over a year, and one of the key reasons that I joined was Microsoft's view on partnerships and how we can start to transform and change the way that people are using technology. My real passion is startups. I'm mentoring a handful of startups at the moment, and I intend to help out more, because what I tend to find is they tend to have experience in either development or in business, and it's not very often that they actually have the blend of the two. So when it comes to looking at the current scene, what you see is a number of companies that have huge potential but don't necessarily understand how to maximize that potential. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but what I can normally do is understand where the gaps are and help fill those gaps. One of the key things that's transforming technology and innovation at the moment is cloud computing. And the reason I say that is, if you look at sort of 12 years ago when we were going through all the challenges of the dot-com boom and bust, one of the key challenges faced was the amount of infrastructure that was needed to set up and develop an organization. The key difference now is, with cloud computing, people have the opportunity to be significantly larger than the sum of their parts. Effectively, what you can do is you can set up an entire company for literally, we've got businesses that are running with thousands of people accessing their services for less than €100 per month. The key thing about that is, what it does is it gives them the opportunity, unless they've got a really bad business model, it gives them the opportunity to actually, as they scale, start increasing their outgoings, but you only scale when you're increasing your incomings as well. So what it's doing is it's enabling these organizations to actually get products out there, get them iterated very quickly, and from that, what they're able to do is expand businesses in a way that they've never been able to do before. From the other perspective, the other thing that I think is significantly impacting technology is the recognition now of user experience, the importance of design as part of this process, making it easy and simple for people to use and understand. I'm going to do a Microsoft plug at this point. I think the evolution of the Windows platform is a good example of this. It's leveraging cloud. It's also, finally, Microsoft is understanding the importance of design as part of user experience. But I think what we're starting to see is smaller businesses understand the importance, and large corporates are starting to see the importance as well. There are two startups that I'm working with at the moment. I will name them because I am very proud of being able to work with these guys. One of them is a company called Skaboodle. The interesting thing about these guys is, and this is what I'm seeing in an awful lot of startups at the moment, they're not really startups anymore. They're actually established businesses that have morphed into something else. So what I would say is Skaboodle, we actually helped them come up with the line that I believe they're now using, which is connecting people to activities they love. And what they're doing is they're using elements of social media. They're using a huge amount of cloud computing, and back to the point I made earlier about scalability. And what they're also doing is they're coming up with very clever ways of taking all this information and manipulating it to effectively make people's lives easier. The specific example of this is they're actually looking or simplifying it for people to set up events, and then for you as a normal consumer to be able to find these events because they're relevant to you. They're going to have location-based services. They're going to have a huge amount of analytics involved. The great thing about these guys is they're going to appeal to the person that wants to arrange a party at the weekend, right the way through to the Heinekens of this world that are looking at setting up significant events around the country. The really interesting thing about them is they come from a background whereby they had another proposition. They had something where they already had 1.5 million people using the platform. That's to my point about them not really being a startup. But what they've done is they've recognized the opportunity and they've evolved. And I think that's what we're starting to see with a lot of companies that are now becoming more and more successful. The other one is a company called TrustDev. Again, it's in the social media space. The fascinating thing about these guys is they recognized a challenge with regards to online purchasing, and they realized the power of actually being able to understand your social footprint online. And what they're doing is they're leveraging that for consumers and for vendors of products to actually give people a rating from their online identity, and from that significantly reduce the amount of fraud, which is a massive challenge for a lot of people in the online space at the moment. I think what we're going to see, and it alludes to one of the points I was making earlier on, which is around user experience and simplifying the way that people are able to adopt technology. The context I have for that is, think about the fact that smartphones, the term smartphone has only been around for about 5 years. No one really understood what that was. Now everyone has a smartphone, as we well know it. So what I would say is, it's come about from the simplification of the adoption of technology. So what that means is computers are starting to work more on our behalf. What I believe we'll see, which may be a little bit scary for some people to think about, but what I do believe we'll see is the power of your phone gives you context in a way that no other device does. If you've got social media linked into it, it knows who you like, what you like, where you like to go. It's got your calendar, so it knows where you need to be. It knows your location, which is the most important context really that you can give to the majority of interactions that we have. So what I would see in the next few years, I don't think it's going to be in 7 years' time, I think it's going to be a lot sooner than that. I think we're going to see an awful lot more contextual computing. So we'll have to think less and less about what we're doing, and our devices will start to give us more and more support. I think that's an opportunity that a number of Irish companies are seeing, but I think, and I hope, that it's Irish companies that actually really have first mover advantage in this space. What we're starting to see, I genuinely believe we're starting to see, is a change and a transformation in opportunities in Ireland, and also, more importantly, how we are articulating that to a larger global audience. I'm starting to see that manifest through some of the startups I'm dealing with. What I hope we see is some of the more established organisations going on a similar path. From a tech perspective, it's important that businesses now actually start to realise what is possible. Stop using what we've always done and start thinking about what we can do. A quote that I love to use regularly is from Einstein, so definitely works. And he talks about logic will get you from A to B, and imagination will take you everywhere. And I genuinely believe if we actually start using our imagination, we will start doing things differently. And if we see that this year, we will see a big, big change in Ireland.